Grade Shea Patterson's Michigan football career. He's been the starting quarterback for the past 2 seasons, and it's a very split opinion out there on Shea Patterson's career. A lot of people love him. A lot of people think they're ready to move on from Shea Patterson, but we've got some news on his future coming up on the show. But I want to know from you guys before we get started, A, B, C, D, or F, grade Shea Patterson's career below in the comments. We've got the Michigan Football Report coming up right now. Welcome into the Michigan Football Report. I am your host, as always, James Yoder. We've got a 3-pack of Michigan football rumors focused on the player personnel, whether guys are going to be returning, not returning, going into the 2020 season. We're going to start off today's show with Shea Patterson. We told you a couple days ago that there's been a lot of rumors, and I flat out said I didn't think they were true. I didn't think they had any validity to them, but enough of you had asked me about it. I've seen it enough about the internet. The blog boards are now trying to get clicks. That's all they do is clickbait these days. So they're writing articles about it, baseless, factless, and it kind of, after our last video on Monday, it became like a thing on Twitter on Tuesday. So reached out to sources inside the Shea Patterson camp, people as close to you can get a Shea, confirmed that this was not even considered. So for Harbaugh had FACK, he's not trying for a 5th year, and wherever the rumor started, I'm not sure, but it seems like Shea's been the victim of a lot of fake Twitter rumors this year. The whole, one about him talking trash about Michigan's coaching, that was fake news from that stupid CFB Quotes Instagram account. There's another one out there saying he did an IG Live trashing Bama. All fake news. Source says they didn't even consider it. I think they probably could get it, actually, but Shea Patterson, I think only intended to come to Michigan for 1 year in the first place. NFL prospects not as high as I think he thought they would be, but petitioning because he only played in 3 games, the last 3 games in the 2016 season as Ole Miss's quarterback. Not in the cards. Shea looking to go try his hand at professional football, going to go to the NFL Draft Combine. I'm sure he'll get an invite, and then see where he gets picked in April's draft. Tom, what do we got for Shea draft pick now? 6th round right now? 5th? 4th? Maybe 4th to 6th round. Maybe he could do better. I'm not sure. We'll see. Senior Bowl could help. We'll see. It really helped Karan Higdon last year, per sources, after he skipped Michigan's football game. But decent year for Shea. We're going to break down in a future show kind of first 4 games, middle 4 games, last 4 games for Shea Patterson. The first quarterback in Michigan football history, surprisingly, crazy. First quarterback ever to throw for 300 yards in a game in back-to-back games. Can you believe that, in 2019? And he's done it 3 straight games, right? So nobody's done it twice. Shea Patterson's done it 3 straight games. Has an opportunity here if he has a good game against Alabama. I kind of think it's unfortunate the games against Alabama because these might not be as attainable. But number 8 all-time in Michigan football passing. Could get as high as 4 or 5 with a decent game against Alabama. Only 21 yards behind Jim Harbaugh on Michigan's all-time career passing list. His 2,828 yards this year is number 5 in a season. But he's only 189 yards behind number 2, Jake Rudock, from 2015, and if he throws for 505 yards against Alabama, I don't know, 50-50, that'll happen, right? 505 yards, that would break John Navarre's single-season record, and it would also be 1 yard above. That'd be 1 yard ahead of the single season and 1 yard ahead of the single game record of 504 by Devin Gardner. We all remember that glorious season where he broke a bunch of passing records, and Michigan went 6-7 or whatever it was. So, grade Shea Patterson's career at Michigan, A, B, C, D, or F. I'm going to go with a B+. Honestly, you guys might call me crazy. As you're down there commenting, just scroll down and listen to this hot take right now. I think a very good case can be made that Shea Patterson saved the Michigan football program under Jim Harbaugh. Because if you remember 2017 season, that was the worst passing game in the country. The worst passing game probably in the history of the program since they started running a pro-style offense after Bo Schembechler gave up the triple option in the early 80s. And 9 touchdowns as a program passing in 2017. 9 in the entire season. Michigan went an entire calendar year with a wide receiver not catching a touchdown pass. Like 12 straight games from 17 into early 2018. And Shea Patterson threw for 9 touchdowns in a 2-game stretch against Michigan State and Indiana, matched the entire programs from the year prior to he came. So I give Shea a B+. I think Had he had one more season under Josh Gaddis with this momentum, potentially he could have a bigger year next year. But as we said, not in the cards. So ABC, D or F on Shea Patterson's career at Michigan. Guys, I want to ask you to subscribe to the channel. We're this close to getting to 6,000 subscribers, a milestone that the bureaucrats are making us get. And we found out a new feature on YouTube. So a lot of comments from you Ohio State, Alabama fans. We get that. But the Michigan fans down there in the comments, YouTube now lets us see if you are subscribed to the channel or not. So nobody likes to get called out in public, but I am warning you, okay? I'm warning you, Michigan fans. You watch and you comment. I was really surprised some of you guys that comment all the time haven't subscribed. So this is your opportunity. Hit the subscribe button right below the video over here. Next episode, I'm going to start calling some people out, my naughty list, and if you're an active viewer of the show but don't subscribe. So don't get called out. Don't get caught not subscribing. You don't want that to happen to you. Next episode, you better watch out if you don't subscribe. All right, Shea Patterson, not coming back for fifth year. We gave that 4 Harbaugh heads, FACK. Want to continue down the quarterback talk. Take a look at the 2020 quarterback room, given that Shea Patterson will not be a part of that conversation. Dylan McCaffrey, crazy thing, he's been sitting behind Shea Patterson for 3 seasons, and I feel in a lot of ways he has become they always say the backup quarterback is the most popular guy in town. Maybe that's an NFL thing more than a college thing, especially in a losing team in the NFL. The backup quarterback's always the most popular guy. Dylan McCaffrey, I think, is becoming like a folk legend to a lot of Michigan fans on social media, that he's just going to walk in and win the Heisman Trophy and just cure all Michigan's ills in the passing game and on offense that we've seen under Jim Harbaugh and really over the last decade. And I'm here to tell you, I think people are going to be in for a rude awakening that Dylan McCaffrey or Joe Milton aren't just going to be the answer that changes everything for Michigan. I think it all starts at the top with Jim Harbaugh. We'll see. So McCaffrey, Milton, they're going to go head-to-head in the spring, and really in a lot of ways in the bowl game practices that are getting underway any day now. They're going to be going for the starting game. Michigan opens on the road against a Washington team that will be replacing their head coach, Chris Peterson, who's stepping down, and maybe a new quarterback, depending on whether Jacob Eason comes out and goes to the NFL. If Eason comes back, I think Washington is favored in that game. So you never want to start a new starting quarterback on the road his first game, especially in a fairly hostile environment that is Washington. Will be probably a ruckus crowd up there. So Dylan McCaffrey, Joe Milton, I think it's pretty obvious it's going to be one of those two guys. But maybe K. McNamara will surprise us. And I'm never going to put it past Jim Harbaugh to throw his hat in the ring for some potential grad transfers or transfer portal guys that have been oppressed at their schools and need a new destination, like Justin Fields, that carpet-bagged son of a gun. And are those guys going to improve on these numbers? I don't know. 400 yards a game. I think it was a little bit of a disappointing year on offense in a lot of ways. First half of the season, getting used to this new offense, and really started to click over the last 3 or 4 games of the year. Notre Dame game, got it going on the ground. Michigan State, Indiana, Ohio State first half, and we'll see what happens in the bowl game for this Michigan football offense under Josh Gaddis. But here's the question for you guys. Who's going to start that game? It's not going to be Shea Patterson, clearly. Opening game. Next Labor Day weekend, 2020, at Washington. Type 10 if it's Dylan McCaffrey, his jersey number. I'm making it simple for you guys. 10 below in the comments for McCaffrey. 5 for Joe Milton. That's his jersey number. I want to get the vibe of the Michigan Football Report audience, the Alabama fans who have just started watching us obsessively, you Ohio State fans. Make your prediction below in the comments, because I actually have no idea. I think this is the most uncertain I've been about a potential starter in Michigan football in a long time. I guess maybe since Jake Rudock, came to Michigan in spring of 2015 at the end of the 14 season. I didn't know who'd be the starting quarterback, and then Rudock comes over as a grad transfer. So type 10 for McCaffrey, type 5 for Milton. I think it's going to be a pretty exciting offseason into spring game and into fall camp with these two guys vying for that job. Let's take a look at another personnel rumor. Carlo Kemp, Michigan's defensive lineman, played in 2016. I was under the impression from everything I've read and everything Michigan's put out that he was probably not going to be returning next year, that he had, not redshirted in 2016. But there's a lot of rumblings out there that he likely will get a 5th year. So we're giving this one 3 Harbaugh heads. So back in 2016, 17, and prior to that, here's what schools would do. They would play certain freshmen that they thought had an opportunity to contribute the first 4 games of the year in spot duty. And if it didn't work out, they weren't going to be contributors. They would be injured, and you could get an injury exemption back then. It was a stupid rule. I think that's why the NCAA finally wised up and say, why are we going to make all these schools just invent injuries all the time? But Carlo Kemp only played in a couple games as far as we can tell in 2016. I guess really wasn't paying attention back then. We looked at the participation logs. Didn't do a ton. Didn't play past the 4th game, and he played in the 2016 game against Penn State. Michigan crushed them, and he didn't play after that. That was the 4th game of the year. So if Michigan has any documentation of an injury with Carlo Kemp, he could be returning for a 5th year in 2019 or 2020. And look, with how bad Ohio State gashed Michigan on the ground and how bad Wisconsin beat up Michigan with the ground game, I think you want Carlo Kemp to come back no matter what. There's no downside. Michigan was very thin when Michael Dwumfour was out early in the year. You certainly struggle on the defensive line. Ben Mason was in there for a little bit. But you see Dwumfour on there. He's another one. And maybe this is a separate story, but we can kind of address it there. I was under the impression that Dwumfour wasn't coming back either. And there's not really a ton out there that can verify either way whether Dwumfour has eligibility. Michael Dwumfour played in the Rutgers game in 2016. That was past the 4th game of the year. So under any existing rule, whether it was a made-up injury rule for 4 games or not, he would not have eligibility under there. But is the NCAA getting more lenient on this thing? Might they just, they're just giving waivers out to everybody. Tate Martell literally got a waiver to play instantly because another guy got a waiver to take his spot, right? That's how crazy the NCAA rules are. So Carlo Kemp, like you get a 5th year. Michael Dwumfour. Whether or not those guys are starters next year, I think certainly Dwumfour would if he comes back. Kemp, maybe Chris Hinton, potentially Mozzie Smith, who we didn't see much of this year. Maybe they take over him, but that depth in the middle of the defensive line is a struggle. And this year's recruiting class and the 2019 one, the freshmen, there's not enough depth there to just say, oh, we've got guys coming up there. So having those 2 players return for 2020 would certainly be a welcome addition to next year's defensive lineup. Guys, we've got some Michigan football sales. These ones are still going on. I think Dylan may have bought it for me. I don't know. He's asking me his size. Say he's got sources that I'm a medium. I'm not sure what's going on with that. But only $12, all right? 50% off. Why would you not buy one of these for everyone in your family? They come in all sizes for kids, women, men. So buy one for the whole team. Take yourself a nice Christmas picture on Christmas morning. $12, chatsports.com/blue3. And put these down in the comments below if you just want to click them or simple URL for you, or also tweet them out today. I also got this Michigan football jacket. This thing is half off still. Only $32.50. It is a bestseller around the Yoder household. I'm just shipping this one out to people so they don't have to worry about their gift anymore. I just sent this to Ohio State fans just because it's so cheap. So 50% jacket, 50% off the jacket. Chatsports.com/blue1 will drop you on that page. All Michigan items up to 50% that are up to 50% off can be found at chatsports.com/blue. Simple URL. That bad boy, the women's hoodie, fleece hoodie, very comfortable. I think it was only $20 we said, or $22, something like that. Very cheap. So hundreds of items: hats, t-shirts, pants, etc. Shoes. Those shoes still only $100, $30 off. Go take a look at them. Chatsports.com/blue. Let's take a quick look at the Alabama-Michigan betting odds. What these sports books are thinking about this one. The line is shifted by a half point. Alabama favored by 7.5, and I think the sports books are doing themselves a disservice right now, putting these lines out. They're doing it, of course, to get players, get customers, get people like yourself to be interested and use their service, get bets in now, and maybe they're limiting the bets you can't bet $50,000 or something crazy like that. Because if you had information about Alabama's 10 or so juniors, 8, 10 guys that may come out early, if those guys are playing or not playing, you could literally dominate this line. Because if all those guys are playing, this should be a 17 or 20-point spread for Alabama. I mean, not even joking there. If all those guys are playing, even with Mac Jones. Gosh, if 2 was in there, it might be a 28-point spread. But if they're not playing, then maybe it's a pick'em game, right? If Alabama's on their second string. So over-under is 56. I'm going to hammer that over. Personally, I think this could be a game where both teams score 35-plus points, depending on who Alabama has playing, who Michigan has playing. in that game. But that is the spread, 7.5 points. Over under is 56 points. We encourage you, if you want to bet on this game, that's your choice, okay? Don't come after me, you religious guy. I don't want to have sick as the guy in the comments saying, James, no more betting. It's against this, okay? I'm not worried about that stuff. If you want to bet, do it. If you don't, don't. Chatsports.com/bet. Promo code GoBlue. It's the best deposit bonus in the game. 120% deposit bonus. Put in 100, you got an extra 120 sitting there in your account to wager with. BetDSI is the sports book that we use. I place all my bets there. Encourage you to do as well. Chatsports.com/bet. Now, big time day today, December 11th, Giles Jackson's 18th birthday. You heard that right. Not 19, not 20. All right, it's not like Jimmy Clausen when he comes in the freshman year of college. He's already 22 years old because he got held back 3 times. 18th birthday for Giles Jackson. Type HBD to wish Giles Jackson a happy birthday. Follows me on Twitter, so I'm going to, humble brag, no big deal. So I'm going to send him the URL just so you can see all of your HBDs below in the comment section. So wish Giles Jackson a happy 18th birthday. And we had the stats and research team doing all night. They were just pouring over records. I think he's the only 17-year-old in the history of the Michigan football Ohio State rivalry to score a touchdown in that game. 17 years old, puts one in for Michigan on the ground on that reverse. Congrats to him on that, being a 17-year-old, and shout out to him, HBD Giles Jackson for his 18th birthday. Last one coming up, Cesar Ruiz going pro. I don't know, we'll see. I don't know if he's that great of a prospect where he should be considering going out, but I'm giving this one 2 Harbaugh heads. There's a lot of chatter out there. I was able to talk to some sources that Ruiz thought of himself as an early enrollee when he started as a true freshman, that this would be the year for him to come out. And the intent is right now is for him to go through the process one at a time. They get any feedback from the NFL like they do in the NBA, like where you'll get your draft grade, something like that. So, yeah, go through the process, get a draft grade, whether it be first round, second round, third round. Give him kind of an opportunity to find out where he would go if he were to come out, and then he can make the decision. I think he's got till January 19th this year, maybe the date, maybe the 15th, something like that. January 20th. Stats and Research Department in the background on the spot on that one. So this is the depth chart right now. You're losing John Runyon Jr. You're losing Ben Bredesen. Michael Onwenu, one of those guys. Is he redshirt? I don't know. He played in 9 games in 2016 as a freshman. I don't know why, but he did. But didn't start. Who the hell knows? Maybe they'll apply for a red shirt for him, although that is unlikely because he played in 9 games. But Cesar Ruiz, Jalen Mayfield, only 2 returning starters slated to come back in this offensive line next year. So if Ruiz were to go on to the pros, which I don't expect him to, but I've been surprised in the past. We were talking about Ernest Shazer going pro after first-team All-American 2004 season and not even getting drafted. But Michigan could be replacing a lot of players on that offensive line. Could be up to 4, although I'm calling it 50-50 in the rumor category right now. Something to keep an eye on for you guys. I don't think it'll happen, but Michigan certainly needs him next season. That's the show for today, folks. We have got some more Michigan football videos for you right here and right here. And you guys, you commenters, you better watch yourself because I got a naughty list. I'm going to pull it out, big one. You hit the subscribe button if you're going to comment because you better watch out for that next show. Go Blue.